I use the term which I sort of coin. God is a God of infinite potential,
Yeah.
and which you're saying in different words.
Yes.
And I say that in order for infinite potential to reach realization, there must be creation, etc., etc. There must
Yes.
there must be 7-year-olds giggling 7-year-olds and romanticizing 20-year-olds, etc., etc.
I have a question for
Right.
you. How do you regard entropy?
I believe it's not as simple as they make it out to be. I believe that the whole universe is geared towards expansion and development. There's presumably a countervailing force, entropy, but that the basic drive of the cosmic order is advance, quest for potential. As we both know, in many fields, etc., there's always countervailing forces. And that would be my sort of one sentence answer.
Well, because one way of looking at entropy is that order gives way to disorder. And from that point of view, and disorder cannot be reclaimed as order.
You know, we had a conference in Bard on my little metaphysics.
Yeah.
And there was a world-renowned chemist there, Peter Atkins, and he took on the role of the intellectual adversary of mine at the conference, which was of course fine, of course. And we were sort of shocked by his position, that his metaphysics was entropy. That entropy drives the cosmic order, meaning sort of decay. He said one word, decay. So we asked him, so where did the original something come from? He said he doesn't know. We asked him, what's the purpose?
That won't work.
He doesn't know. And where's it going? He doesn't know. And again, where'd it come from? He doesn't know. I said, you have a metaphysics, write about metaphysics.
Yeah, that
Right.
won't work.
And then we asked him, and this is all on tape, by the way, on YouTube. You're renowned Peter Atkins, world-renowned chemist. Would you rather view yourself as a product of decay or the product of divine potential?
Well, let me
Right.
look. I'm now 89, and one of the things that impresses me, I'm quite healthy for my age, but old age is entropy, or the product of entropy. It's the coming apart of organization. It's the dissolution of organization.
Not so simple, my friend.
Okay.
Not so simple, my friend. Because we get up in the morning and traditionally we say Moda Ani. We thank the heavens for another day. And what are we thanking them for ultimately in my metaphysics? We're thanking them for the possibility of reaching our potential, of going for our potential. And we have a lifetime to go for it. The lifetime may be a day, or might be 120 plus years. That's the gift. In order for there to be a quasi-infinite universe, there has to be apparently life and death, etc.
Yeah.
The gift we're given is that lifetime, to make the most of it.
Okay.
And on the one hand, it could be a negative lifetime, cause death and destruction. In the mid-zone, it might be, be middling, sort of survivalist. Another extreme, it might be a Dr. Richard Rubenstein, who on some level shakes the world.
Oh, I hardly did that.
and maximizes his potential and fulfills the imperative of potential. So it's not, so in order to for you to have the opportunity to shoot your potential, you have to be part of a self-fulfilling perpetual motion dynamic, which involves life and death.
Right.
But you lived it to its full, and you're still plenty to go. You played it out. So its issue is not so much, that there's an autumn, there's a sunset. It's more that there's a spring to it. There's a season of spring to it.
Spring comes first.
Right.
The sunset
And the idea is to make the most of it to really possible. That's how I would view it. And of course, life itself.
I wouldn't challenge that. I've tried to make the most of it.
Right, right. And life, as we both know, the whole idea of life itself is triumph. Even an ant is a triumph that life exists. And then life with, where potential for some spirituality or givingness or elevating humanity is a bountiful gift, We have the tendency of, seeing issues and problems, and if we can see the potential in things, we all know we're much enlivened by it. And so you were saying in the run-up to the conversation that, you're teaching a course, et cetera, and you had that little, segue about it's my best option, right, of my different options. But when you keep advancing the human condition, you are giving yourself life. You're enhancing your life, and you enhance the entire cosmic order. And whether you do it on your level, which is a very high level, or more humble level, to the extent that we advance the cosmic order, we keep it supercharging creation. That's how I would address that particular little point. Hope that was not bad.
No, I wouldn't say that. No, what struck me is how. See, to me, the question is system of continuity,
right.
System of gaps, and I recognized immediately that you are part of a system of continuity.
For sure, right.
And so when I recognize it, we're on the same side of the street. It was how I got there, I do not know.
Right.
I'll tell you one thing I think helped, and I preface this by saying that I have never, ever suggested it for anybody else. I'm just telling you that it was very helpful for me, and that, of course, is psychoanalysis. And you have the same thing in Freud, for example, in Beyond the Pleasure Principle, where you have the idea that at a certain point things have had their moment and then they go. I find it in Freud. I find it especially in Hegel.
Well, I view that we tend to view the life through our own particular philosophical prism.
Right.
So I view everything through the prism of potential.
Yeah.
And including the field of analysis or related,
Yeah.
Meaning if people are achieving their potential or on the road to achieving potential, they will feel fulfilled and relatively good. But if they're off course, they won't feel good. And I suspect that if that were plugged into that whole field, that would save a lot of time and money. I suspect, yeah.
Well, I think you'd find that you can find more sympathical things. Partly, part of Freud's problem is that at one level he's a simplistic atheist. That's the 19th century scientism. But at another level, he in things like Beyond the Pleasure Principle, he comes very, very close.
No one can dispute his genius in certain areas. The whole idea, the whole concept of atheism, I find, I can never understand why people are atheists. I can understand why they're agnostics, but I never can understand how that's a strong position, an intellectual position.
Well, people come to conclusions, and I guess where it mostly comes from is from a despair
At finding an answer?
at what they find in the
Right.
world, and they say, well, nothing's in control or anything like that.
Right.
Another thing which as I was reading your material, I thought of a Isaiah, I don't trust my memory these days, so
Me either.
we just should have had it ready. Come on. This is not an iPhone, it's an iPod Touch.
I'm impressed.
Okay. Okay. So we're on the 45th chapter of Isaiah. Laman yeda'u mimizrach shemesh u'mimarava ki efes biladi ani Hashem be'ein od, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. But the next verse is the one I find most interesting. You know this. Yotzer or uvore hosher. He forms the light and he creates the darkness. Ose shalom, he makes peace. Uvore ra, and he creates evil. Ani Hashem ose kol ele. I am the Lord who created these. Right. Now, to my mind, this is really a statement of continuities. It's and from a historical point of view, you know, Isaiah is involved with the liberation of the Hebrews from their galut, their exile in Babylonia. They're brought back to Palestine, at least some of them, by Cyrus. But what was the religion of the Persians at the time? It was Zoroastrianism, which is a religion of gaps. There's a God for evil, there's a God for good. They war with each other, they have nothing to do with each other. And Isaiah comes along and says, Yotzer or Vore Hosher. He forms a light and he...
Right, some people say Judaism is not dualistic, but there are many components in Judaism which are very dualistic, like just here.
Yeah.
And
I don't consider this dualistic.
Well, I feel a little dualistic.
Yeah.
Okay, but can I tell you how I?
Please.
See that. You see, one of the main classic questions in metaphysics or philosophy is, why is there anything at all?
Yeah.
Or if there is a God, where did God come from? All right. And both Aristotle and his successors, and Maimonides and his philosophical successors, both are all at an impasse here, respectfully. They're at an impasse. And, you know, it's sort of like constructing a great skyscraper without a foundation. What's the foundation? So, you know, we all struggle with that question. And my best proposition, which I integrate into my works fully, is as follows. That the only concept which I can posit as having existed eternally is possibility.
Yeah, I like the
Sharia, right. A possibility I can posit with conviction as having always existed. Pure possibility. And then I morph it a little bit. That possibility then morphs into quest for potential. I can't tell you exactly, but I say they're like first cousins.
Mm-hmm.
And here's my next finesse. The quest for potential then splits zero.
I came to that and I thought it was very good.
And therefore, when you split, what happens when you split zero? Not that we do this every day. You might end up with darkness and light, good and evil.
Yeah.
You know, as necessary components. And that would dovetail into your...
Now, look what you're splitting zero,
Right.
and my God is das Heilige Nicht.
Right, they dovetail, right.
Dovetail.
Oh, and they're parallel.
Out of the nothingness,
Right.
everything comes.
They dovetail, right. They dovetail, right. They dovetail.
For you, I caught that. The
Right.
zero
Right.
becomes the world.
Right.
My way of putting it. You know, while you were talking, I couldn't help but recite to myself, again from classical German philosophy, Warum gibt es etwas und nicht? Why is there something rather than nothing?
Nothing, right? That's the question.
Yeah.
Why is there anything at all? And that's the real brick wall that most people hit, most philosophers hit. And I would suggest when you analyze a philosopher, first ask, how does she address that particular question? If they're avoiding that question, we have a problem here, Houston.
Well, I can tell you, Hegel does not avoid it. And my advice to you, I'm giving you unsolicited advice, I think you'll find much in Hegel that will be simpatico to where you're coming from.
Right.
Well, I also wrote an autobiography, and the autobiography is called Power Struggle. It came out in the 1970s. I'm now doing a revised, updated edition. And my chapter on Harvard is called Tillich in Harvard, because the course that I took under Paul Johannes Tillich on classical German philosophy, more than any other course I took at Harvard, gave me the intellectual background to talk to you the way I am now. Now I can tell you also that I had already read Luria, but what German philosophy did, and there are some bad actors in German philosophy, but they reached a pinnacle in this stuff.
Well, I might say they reached a plateau, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you might not disagree with that either.
I don't, well, no.
You're saying the same thing.
Same
Right.
Same thing.
At this point, I would suggest we take a little break
Okay.
and we just reboot a little bit. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.